Water, wine, beer. What did the Romans actually drink in their daily lives and celebrations? Contrary to what many might think, the Roman Empire developed a true liquid culture, with specific drinks for soldiers, slaves, senators, and emperors. In this video, we're diving into the drinking habits of a civilization that turned even the act of drinking into an everyday art form. In the sweltering Mediterranean heat, daily life in ancient Rome demanded more than military conquests and eloquent speeches. It demanded constant hydration. Yet despite the marvels of Roman engineering, with its aqueducts and public fountains, drinking water wasn't always reliable. The risk of contamination, especially in densely populated urban areas, led people to seek safer alternatives. Drinking then became not just a matter of necessity, but a cultural and social marker. Ordinary citizens turned to posca, a simple blend of water, vinegar, and sometimes herbs. It was cheap, refreshing, and considered safe. Among the aristocracy, however, wine was king, but not in its raw form. It was carefully diluted, warmed, sweetened with honey, and infused with spices. Undiluted wine, served straight, was considered crude and associated with foreign peoples viewed as barbaric. For Rome's upper classes, drinking was an act of refinement and self-restraint. Whether in taverns, on battlefields, or inside banquet halls, the drink in one's cup revealed more than personal taste. It signaled social status, circumstance, and even character. A drink didn't just quench thirst, it defined identity. For the Romans, wine was more than just a drink. It was a social marker, a symbol of status, and an essential part of both public and private life. It appeared at banquets, religious ceremonies, funerals, and even the humblest tables. Among the elite, its consumption was refined and full of symbolism. Sweet, aged wines from Greece, Campania, or Hispania circulated among senators and aristocrats. Falernian wine, for example, was so highly prized that people claimed only the gods were worthy of its purest form. It was often mixed with honey to create mulsum, or enhanced with aromatic herbs, spices, and resins, turning each glass into a complex, sophisticated sensory experience. The common people, on the other hand, drank a very different version: wine diluted with water, often sour. Among soldiers, posca, a mix of water, vinegar, and herbs, was widespread and even strategic. It helped with hydration and killed off harmful microbes in contaminated water. It was a practical drink, not a luxury. During celebrations, everyone drank, but the contents of each cup spoke volumes. The color of the wine, its thickness, and its aroma all signaled who belonged to the elite and who was a commoner. A wine that was too dark or too acidic revealed a lack of access to the finest harvests. In contrast, clear and gently sweet wines became liquid trophies. So, while Rome may have raised its glasses in unison, it was in truth a city of many flavors, and many hidden realities within each cup. The Romans were not satisfied with simple flavors. In their drinks, taste was shaped by a true alchemy of ingredients. From wine to everyday infusions, nearly everything was enhanced with spices and herbs, not just for flavor, but also for medicinal and symbolic purposes. It was common to add honey to wine to soften its acidity. But it didn't stop there. Mixtures with cinnamon, myrrh, lavender, saffron, and black pepper created variations known as conditum, an aromatic wine served at banquets or used in rituals. Some texts suggest that even rose petals and bay leaves were used to scent liquids and surprise guests. Mulsum, for instance, was a blend of young wine and honey, typically served at the beginning of meals. Posca, on the other hand, made from vinegar diluted with water and flavored with mint or garlic, was mostly consumed by soldiers and slaves. It was cheap, refreshing, and resistant to contamination. Herbal infusions were also widely popular. People steeped chamomile, fennel, anise, and even garlic in hot water. These drinks weren't just for relaxation. They were used to ease pain, strengthen digestion, or purify the body. These practices reveal a worldview where drinking was also an act of care. Exotic flavors blended with therapeutic purpose, and the Roman palate became a bridge between pleasure and healing. Although wine dominated Roman daily life, other beverages also had their place, though with very different social meanings. Milk, for example, was consumed in moderation. It was seen as the food of pastoral peoples and therefore more associated with rural classes or early childhood. Roman adults, especially in urban centers, tended to avoid it, considering it hard to digest. When used, it was typically goat's or sheep's milk, often mixed with herbs. Beer, known as cerevisia, held an even more marginal status in classical Roman culture. While appreciated in Celtic and Germanic regions, it was viewed by Romans with a degree of disdain. They considered it rustic, a drink of barbarian peoples. Yet in the empire's borderlands, legionaries and local residents didn't hesitate to drink it. It was made simply from fermented grains, lacking the refinement of wine, but practical and abundant. Vinegar, meanwhile, had an ambiguous role. On its own, it wasn't suitable for drinking, but when diluted with water and mixed with herbs, it became the well-known posca. This beverage was widely distributed among soldiers, as it was not only refreshing, but also helped preserve liquids, kill bacteria, and prevent infections. Though these three drinks stood on the fringes of Roman culture, they reveal the liquid diversity of the empire. Each served a purpose, shaped by climate, class, culture, or necessity, and each, in its own way, left a mark on Rome's diet. In Rome, drinking wasn't just a daily habit. It was also an act loaded with religious and social meaning. Some beverages, like wine mixed with honey, mulsum, were essential in religious celebrations and state ceremonies. Mulsum, with its sweet flavor and strong aroma, was offered to the gods as a symbol of abundance and divine favor. During festivals dedicated to Bacchus, Jupiter, and Ceres, pouring wine as libations was an indispensable part of both public and private rites. This ritual offering, called libatio, involved pouring a small portion of the drink onto the ground or altar, forming a sacred link between humans and the gods. Even in modest households, a similar gesture took place. A small portion of wine was set aside for the divine before meals began. But not everyone was free to drink as they pleased. Rome was a society governed by strict norms, even when it came to the cup. Married women, for instance, were forbidden from drinking undiluted wine. Female drunkenness was seen as a sign of moral decay and a threat to patriarchal control. In extreme cases, there are accounts of harsh punishments carried out by husbands or family members in the name of defending morality. Women were allowed, at most, watered-down wine or sweet light beverages, and always under supervision. Meanwhile, priests in certain cults had to abstain from drinking entirely before rituals, keeping their bodies pure for divine contact. Beyond wine, other ritual mixtures existed, such as aqua lustralis, water combined with herbs and vinegar, used in purification rites for homes, objects, and even armies before battle. In Rome, the act of drinking was surrounded by moral, political, and spiritual codes. It was devotion and distinction, boundary and power. Even sacred liquids were subject to social rules. With every sip, Rome reaffirmed its order. So, did you enjoy learning what the Romans used to drink? Then go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. There's another video waiting for you right here on the side. See you next time.